This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
I'm already there. I'm already there. It's just in my mind, but for now that is fine. 'Cause I'm already there. I'm already there. It may take some time, but we'll leave this behind. I'm already there. I'm already there. It's just in my mind.
Following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, it does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, we are broadcasting on this lovely Tuesday, January the 28th of 2025. Day 28th of the year in only 337 days to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Oh, yeah, you know how it goes. We're hanging out doing our thing. So welcome back if you've been here before. If this is your first time here, let's take you down the path of this thing that we call the Rated R Safety Show. So what's going to happen here over the next hour or so, this is a 1-hour show of 3 because that's the only one we do on video. The rest is just live streaming as we are coming across, or maybe you're having the podcast aspect of it. But we talk about safety and we talk about the news, and we even talk about safety in the news. So that's what we go about, talk about, and do. And then we kind of go through that whole thing. We go over everything that's going on in real time. I have some professional broadcasters that come in. They will talk to you about what's going on in this so-called life. And then we move forward and get it all together because that's what we do. That's kind of the, the point of the show is where we talk about everything. Some people sit back and go, but the whole show doesn't consist about talking about safety. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Thank you for pointing out the obvious. But the reason behind it is the following. We don't talk about safety the whole time. I know, heartbreaking and underwhelming as I talk about that. And the reason behind it is the following. It's because we talked about that the whole other time. Guess what you would not have? Something to discuss outside of safety. And listen, I know that we go in through a whole bunch of pop culture references and talk about sometimes real-time news. And the reason behind this is, before you get into the whole conversation of only talking about safety, you need to have something to talk about outside of the norm. So that's the kind of the point there. Anyways, if you want to interact with our lovely show, you have the chance to doing so by going to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. They'll get everything moving and grooving our general direction, and that's kind of how everything will get set up. Once you get into that, it gives you the option to video, audio, or text message are the options. Some people will turn around and say, but I can do that on the social media platforms. Well, I know you can do that on the social media platforms, but we do it in here because I don't pay attention to social media platforms as I'm doing this in real time. Anyways, with that being said, let's start talking right away about what the hell was trending in the overnight.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so as I take a look at the trends of the ends, so let's talk about what's up on the notable and noteworthy. The new boss of Starbucks is taking home, well, some big bucks. We'll talk about that here in just a few moments. A lot of music news, and we'll talk about that as we get into showbiz. And also, Reese Witherspoon does jury duty, because I'm sure that wasn't distracting at all. And Craig Melvin gets some new ink. Who's Craig Melvin, and why are we talking about his ink? We'll talk about details about that inside of the casting calls. And Prince Anne stays in for a long haul as the Royals. So there you go. So let's give you the teaser before we get you into the main stories. Chip maker NVIDIA stock prices slid nearly 15% on Monday, representing $590 billion in total value erased, marking it the biggest single-day stock drop in total value in American history. Still, the company's total market capitalization makes it worth $2.9 trillion and and the third most valuable company in the country after Apple and Microsoft. In fact, according to Bloomberg, NVIDIA stockholders are used to the roller coaster of the 10 biggest single-day stock losses. NVIDIA made the list 8 times, losing anywhere between $197 billion to $279 billion in value in a single day. The steep decline followed the news of the weekend of a Chinese tech company that was able to develop artificial intelligence program called DeepSeek. DeepSeek. That's exponentially more efficient than the prominent platforms currently dominating the market, namely ChatGPT. A more efficient program means needing fewer chips, less computing power, and less energy to run the infrastructure. The analysts remain skeptical about the claim. Despite the sell-off, NVIDIA remains the world's solo manufacturer of chips capable of powering such massive computer programs, hence the astronomical value. Exports control has established that the Biden administration would prohibit NVIDIA from selling to the Chinese firms, like the one behind DeepSeek, which could very well be lying about how much computing power they're really using. So that will get you started. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and get into our news stories for today. I have the people from Feature Story News waiting, so let's do that right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in Hong Kong, I'm Laura Westbrook. United Nations Chief Antonio Guterres has warned world leaders to learn from the atrocities of the Holocaust and turn words into action. He was speaking at the UN headquarters in New York to mark Holocaust Memorial Day and the 80th anniversary of the liberation of the Auschwitz camp complex. Approximately 1.1 million people were murdered at the concentration camp from 1940 to 1945, many of them Jews, but also other Poles, the Roma and Soviet prisoners of war. Sally Patterson reports.
A sombre UN ceremony commemorated the liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau, the largest Nazi concentration camp. The ceremony remembered the 6 million people murdered because they were Jewish, as well as Roma and Sinti victims, people with disabilities, and LGBTQI groups. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres told the General Assembly that remembrance is not only a moral act, but a call to action. A key theme in this year's commemoration was the rise in anti-Semitism around the world. That's at least in part linked to the Israel-Hamas war.
US President Donald Trump says Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi could visit the US as early as February. He told reporters after a phone call with Modi that India is also working to repatriate illegal migrants. Ishan Garg has more from New Delhi.
In what was the first telephonic conversation between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Trump after the latter's re-election to the White House, Trump says they discussed a wide range of issues. Trump also reportedly told the press pool that he discussed illegal migration with Modi and said India will do what is right. This comes after India told the US it is ready to bring back illegal Indian migrants from the US once their nationality has been established. India is the largest source of legal migrants to the US, but US border agencies say thousands have been crossing over illegally through the Canadian and Mexican border. Trump also said the Indian Prime Minister could visit the US in February, though the Indian side is yet to confirm these plans.
Investigators say the engines of a plane that crashed in South Korea last month contained bird feathers. The Jeju airplane was travelling from Thailand to South Korea when it crash-landed, killing 179 people. Rebecca Bunton reports.
Feathers and bloodstains from a type of migratory duck called the Baikal teal were found in both engines of the Boeing aircraft, according to a report released by South Korean authorities on Monday. Last month's Jeju air crash is the deadliest that has taken place on South Korean soil. The pilot made a mayday call reporting a bird strike before attempting a belly landing, but the plane exploded when it hit an embankment. Investigations are continuing to try to find out exactly what happened.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking in more detail today at Elon Musk's latest efforts to persuade German voters to back the far-right AfD, the Alternative for Germany party, in next month's elections. In a virtual appearance at a weekend rally, he told party supporters to get over what he called past guilt. Referring to Adolf Hitler's Nazis, Musk said children should not be guilty for the sin of their parents or their grandparents. And he called the party on the weekend before Holocaust Memorial Day the best hope for Germany. Katja Hoyer is a German-British historian, contributes to The Spectator and wrote Beyond the Wall, a history of East Germany.
There are elections in Germany in February. I think this is just part of his attempt to try and bolster their support and maybe make them appear more respectable amongst the sort of conservative end of the voting spectrum. So he's previously said on X that, you know, the AfD is the only thing that can save Germany. And then he wrote a controversial op-ed for a German newspaper as well, in which he endorsed the party. So I think as part of that attempt to try and legitimize a party that in Germany, because of the historical context that you just mentioned, is still seen as a very, very dangerous force by many because of Germany's past.
Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk called Mr. Musk's weekend intervention ominous. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
The main news again. The United Nations chief warns world leaders to learn from the atrocities of the Holocaust as they mark 80 years since the liberation of Auschwitz. US President Donald Trump and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi discussed trade and a potential state visit to Washington in a phone call. Investigators say they have found evidence of a bird strike on a passenger plane that crashed in South Korea in December, killing 179 people. And that is the latest feature story news. Laura Westbrook reporting.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet, completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
If you're anything like me, you have certain tendencies to put things off, such as filing taxes, seeing the doctor, working on that home improvement project that you're supposed to be doing, but you just haven't gotten to it. And while most of the times it works out, the one thing in life that you really cannot afford to wait on is setting up term coverage life insurance. You've probably seen life insurance commercials on TV and thought, yeah, I'll look into it later. Well, the answer is no. This isn't something that you can wait for. Choose life insurance through Ladder today. Ladder is 100% digitals, no doctors, no needles, no paperwork. When you apply for $3 million in coverage or less, just answer a few questions about your health in an application. Ladder's customers rate them 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot, and they've made Forbes' best life insurance in 2021's list. You just need a few minutes and a phone or a laptop to apply. Ladder's smart algorithm works in real time, so you'll find out if you're instantly approved. No hidden fees, cancel anytime, get full refund if you change your mind in the first 30 days. Ladder policies are issued by insurers with long proven histories of paying claims. They're rated A and A+ by AM Best. Finally, since life insurance costs more as you age, now is the time to cross it off your list. So go to ladder.com/safetyfm today to see if you're instantly approved. That's LADDER life.com/safetyfm. Ladderlife.com/safetyfm.
Safety never sounded so terrible.
Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there we go. Currently 17 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Tuesday, because that's what we're doing. By the way, if you were not aware, last week on the Jay Allen show, let me phrase that properly. On Safety FM with Jay Allen, I got to hang out with Sheldon Primus. We did part 1. Today at noon Eastern time, we will be releasing part 2 of the interview with Sheldon Primus. So if you have not taken a listen to the first part, might want to go back and take a listen to it, and then go ahead at the nooner, take a listen to what was going on during that time. What was that?
Duh.
So there you go. So, yeah, a lot of good times hanging out with Sheldon, doing the things that we get to do together. No doubt about that. Okay, so let's start talking about some news stories, because that's going to be important as we are hanging out. So take a listen to this. On Saturday's crooks stole an ancient 2,400-year-old golden helmet from a Dutch museum, leaving the curators worried that they'll melt it down to resell it. The artifact originated back in Romania and is a one-of-a-kind. And there is a very small resale market, even with the shadier corners of the black art market. Romanian officials loaned out the helmet and 4 gold bracelets that were also stolen on a 6-month loan. A rep of the Romania Natural History Museum even says, even in the most pessimistic dream, we would not have believed it would be possible. Security footage shows the blasting of the hole into the wall in the museum around 3:45 a.m. on Saturday morning, local time, and quickly grabbing their loot. So far, no suspects have been identified. This is according to the New York Post. So there you go. I don't know what to tell you. Makes it some interesting times, no doubt about that, as we are talking about this. So there you go. Really? Really? That was a button we hit. Okay, so there you go. Let's talk about this. Katy Perry's Lifetime Tour is heading to the U.S. She will perform tracks from her latest album, 143, and others from her extensive catalogs of hits. Perry is set to kick things off on May the 7th at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas, if you're interested in that. Also, Lady Gaga's 7th studio album, reportedly titled Mayhem, will be released on March the 7th. The 14-track album features previously released songs Disease and Die with a Smile. Gaga will debut her third single on February the 2nd during the Grammy Awards, so be on the lookout for that. Additionally, Frozen 3 isn't due to hit theaters until Thanksgiving weekend. Are you ready for this? Of 2027. But actor Josh Gad says that it'll be worth the wait. During a recent appearance at the Spotlight with Jessica Shaw podcast, Gad, who voices Olaf in the films, couldn't say much more than the plot of the forthcoming installment, but did not say no one wants to rush this, that's for sure. They want this to obviously be worthy of the story that we set to make in 2013, and it is the first Frozen movie that he added. So there you go. So hold on, because I want to make sure that I understand. This movie's going to take 14 years from the original date to come out with the next one? Holy guacamole. You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff there. So there you go. Okay, and some other news. Let's talk about this. 7 children, 6 animals, 2 parents, and wildly, Hilaria Baldwin says is opening the second of the trailer in her family's new reality show, The Baldwins. The series following the day-to-day of the life of Hilaria, husbands Alec Baldwin and their kids. No word whether Alec's oldest daughter, Ireland Baldwin, will also appear. In addition of their busy day lives, the show also touches on Alec's now settled manslaughter charge. Baldwin premieres on February the 23rd on TLC. So there you go. I don't know. It makes it pretty interesting as we are talking, no doubt about that. That is for sure. So coming up, Reese Witherspoon does jury duty. New music and major tour announcement from major stars and tragedies hit the U.S. space program. We'll talk about this date in history as everything's about to come up in just a moment.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, so let's start talking some more about some things that are going on inside of the multiverse, because we're not talking about the multiplex today. Financial filings for Starbucks shows that how badly the coffee giant board wanted to snag its new CEO. Brian Nicole left Chipotle to top the job at Starbucks, where his base salary, are you ready for this, is $1.6 million. But that's just the beginning. He also earned more than $80 million in stocks. If he leads the company to hit all benchmarks, he could earn up to $7.2 million in the first year of his salary. He also gets travel stipend of $250,000 a year. On top of that, access to a private jet to commute from California to Seattle when he's in the office. He also already earned half of the $10 million signing bonus, with the second half to be paid in 6 months after he was on the job. This is according to Fortune magazine. Yeah, something tells me that they really wanted him at that price point. But hey, good for him. I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing that people go like, well, I don't understand why that person's making so much money. You kind of make your own deal in life sometimes when it comes to stuff. I mean, if somebody offered you some outrageous amount of money, you're going to turn it down? I'm just asking the question. I know, kind of a weird one.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying.
He is trying to be entertaining.
Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so there's plenty of anecdotal evidence that the young Americans are entitled, and there's hard data too. A survey online shows that 55% of Gen Z who earns at least $100,000 a year, openly admitted engaging in online retail fraud, meaning they've reported a package as lost or stolen even when they received it, that they could dispute legitimate transactions as fraud, or arguing with customer service that they never placed a bet online that they lost the money. Millennials weren't particularly more honest, with 49% saying that they've done the same thing this past year. Worth noting, though, the respondents were openly admitting such behavior and proudly. So 46% say they believe that they're being good consumer advocates by cheating. 2/3 believe their actions are justified because the companies they're ripping off can afford to eat the cost. By the way, just 29% of X or Gen X and 3% of boomers cop to the same kind of theft. This is according to Axios. Have you ever called to say that you didn't receive something that you had received? Because that's kind of a weird one. You know what I used to get damaged all the time, which I always thought was weird, was I would order water. Bottles of water, very large bottles of water online. And the weird thing about it is that if you had some that were damaged that leaked on the transport, the only thing they can do is replace the whole package. They can't replace just the one or two of them. So that was kind of a weird thing that happened for a period of time. Then I stopped drinking giant bottles of water and said, hey, there's probably a better way of doing this. So we've done some other things since then. But yeah, that was back in the day. And I always kind of felt weird about it, that it's like, oh, there's like 2 bottles that are missing water, but all of a sudden you're replacing a 12-pack because of it. But I guess that's just the kind of the way that it goes. Anyways, take a listen to this. PETA. Okay. PETA wants to replace weather predicting groundhog Ponzatoni Phil with a weather reveal cake. Yeah, the Animal Rights Organization believes that it's the time for Phil and his family to retire to a reputable sanctuary instead of being paraded around annually on Groundhog's Day. In a letter to Punxsutawney Ground Club President Tom Dunkel, PETA's President Ingrid Nurek suggested an alternative method, while nothing that Groundhog Days is no piece of cake for Phil. This is PETA's first attempt to ditch the groundhog in 2020, or isn't the first one. In 2024, they suggested flipping a giant coin. And in 2022, they pushed the idea of using permission tree to predict the weather. What the hell is a permission tree? Yeah. Okay. Somebody has to tell me that, because I have no idea. So there you go. Okay. So now we're going to get into some editorial stuff where people sent in information about the swamp. So we're going to get swampy, and then we're going to talk about it, and then we're going to figure everything else out. Okay. So on the way out the door, former President Joe Biden gave clemency to a slate of nonviolent drug offenders, but one man is now free who certainly should not be. In 1999, Adrian Peeler, P-E-L-E-R, murdered a woman and a child to prevent them from testifying in another murder case. Remarkably, the crime only earned him 20 years in state prison. But now, let's see, Adrian remains behind bars since 2021 to serve an additional 15 years in federal drug sentence. Thanks to the Biden reprieve, Adrian will be released this summer. Even in Connecticut, Senator Dick Blumenthal, who was the Connecticut Attorney General when Peeler committed the murders, believes that someone dropped the ball. By the way, analysts are reporting that ABC, CBS, and NBC from January 20th through the morning of January 22nd shows the network spent a total of 46 minutes, 32 seconds talking about Trump on January 6 pardons. In total, they spent 3 minutes and 30 seconds on Biden's pardon for his family. So there you go. So hold on. I'm just asking because I want to have a better understanding. There was like 1,500 people on the pardon for the Trump stuff. And then how many people was it for the Biden one? Because I'm not 100% sure. I hope he doesn't have 1,500 people that he excused pardoning whatsoever. But I'm just trying to figure it out for purposes of mathematical functions. Yes, mathematical functions, to make sure that we have a clear understanding here. Okay, so let's talk about this. The Dow increased by 289 points to close at 44,713 on Monday. The S&P lost about 88 points to close at 6,012, and the Nasdaq lost 612 points to close at 19,341. West Texas Intermediate closed at $73 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $76 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.12 on Monday, and Bitcoin slid on Monday. Yeah, they slid below $100,000 before dipping back up over $101,000. So there you go. You know, it was the build up and then it kind of went away. So there you go. And then tonight's Mega Million drawing will be for $44 million jackpot or a $19.5 million cash payout. So there you go. If you want to play the game, you have the opportunity to do so. Okay, Ed Sheeran and his first international artist to perform in Bhutan. He was welcomed to the country by the king and the queen. Just to reference that. Also, after Friday's show in the stadium, Sheeran raved about his experience and thanked his incredible fans. So there you go. Now you have some more news in case you did not know. So there you go. Okay, Anderson .Paak added a fuel to the rumors that he's dating Mariah Carey during his performance on Sundance Film Festival over the weekend. While DJing Saturday night, he played Carey's hit song Shake It Off for the crowd while he sang and danced along with the lyrics. A Daily Mail reporter who was in the crowd said that Paak kept her song on for almost a full duration compared to a few seconds that he was playing for the other songs. The two musicians sparked dating rumors at the end of last year when they were spotted together in Aspen. So there you go. Some stuff for you right there. Also, Justin Simpson is being sued by his father's estate for moving into his home. Malcolm Levine, I guess, the attorney serving the special administration for O.J. Simpson's estate, filed suit against Primary Holding LLC, which is owned and operated by Justin. The suit alleges that Primary Holding purchased O.J.'s home in August of 2022 prior to his passing in order to be shielded from his. So, hold on. In order to shield it from being sold to offset creditors' claim. After OJ's death, Justin reportedly moved into the home, which he claimed as his own because his company bought it. Levine says that OJ never intended it to make the house separate from the estate and was making payments even after Primary Holdings bought it. Assets are being sold to offset the $33.5 million OJ owes to the families of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman, from whom he was found liable for their deaths. So there you go. Some things to talk about for sure. Let me give you this one real quick because we talked about it earlier. Years after playing a lawyer in Legally Blonde, Reese Witherspoon was selected for jury duty. She seemed to reminisce about the experience in the Graham Norton show, saying that she thought, surely they're not going to pick me. But they did just that. Not only was she in the jury, she was also selected as a foreman during the deliberations because she went to law school, which she did not. I played a lawyer in a movie, but only fully made me a forewoman, and I started to realize that people don't know much about the law, she joked. So there you go. Yeah. I agree. I agree with that. So there you go. Some stuff to think about. Anyways, with that being said, 32 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's do that thing that we do.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, main story time, and it is time to talk about being the one. No, you heard me. It's time to start talking about being the one. And what does that mean? You know that there is programs inside of your workplace that what you do. You know, if you are doing what we're kind of doing, you probably are involved heavily with the safety program. And you are involved heavily with the things that happen with that program. And here's what will kind of prove that for you for a moment. I say that you are heavily involved because if something goes wrong, someone is knocking on your door on about it being corrected. And that's kind of the interesting aspect of it. Because when things go wrong, they definitely have a person, and you can determine who they are, have a person to lay the blame game on. But if you are the person that is doing all the stuff to get everything to go and move and work and so on, you could be the one, but then you're the one, quote unquote, behind the scenes. And let me kind of explain this, and we talked briefly about this yesterday, about how safety is a cost center and not a profit center. And that is what happens at times when the higher ups, and we'll use that term loosely, talk about safety. You can be the person that's helping the organization evolve in regards to the things that are going on. But, and this is a big but, when things are going well, it's how the program is working. But if things are going wrong, this is the person that normally is seen that oversees safety. Listen, if I'm talking off kilter here, let me know. But you know, and I know, that based on what we have seen, that's how it normally goes. So, are you okay with being the one behind the one of the things that's going on? And I ask that question because I want to have a better understanding. Because this type of work is not high praise. And I will always tell people when they ask me, oh, you know, I like where I'm appreciated and all this other stuff. It's important to me for me to understand the value of my job in regards of what I'm doing. I would probably tell you that safety is definitely not the aspect for that. And some people don't love when I say that, and I'm perfectly fine with it. But understand that because of this, sometimes people will get involved with this journey that we call safety and then don't want to be involved at all. Like, I will tell you, I remember going to a class where I heard this guy talked, and he spoke beautifully about how he felt about safety. Something went wrong at the transportation company that he worked at. In a moment's notice, he changed everything. And we're still friends, we still communicate, but he went into real estate. Because he was tired of the rigmarole when it came to safety. Now, listen, he does extremely well as a real estate agent. Good for him, so on. But I look at it from the standpoint is that sometimes we drive really good people away from the industry because of how the accountability factor works. Things are good. We're a team. Things are bad. That's the person that's responsible for safety. It's kind of weird how it works sometimes. Think about it.
Oops. What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Hey there, Jay Allen here with Safety FM, where we just don't talk about safety, we live it. And when it comes to safeguarding your future, there's no better partner than Acorns. This part of the show has been brought to you by Acorns and a powerful tool that makes saving and investing easier than ever. We all know that investing can feel overwhelming, especially with busy lives and no time to dive into the nitty-gritty of financial markets, but Acorns changes the game. With Acorns, you don't need to be a financial expert or have a hefty sum of money to get started. In fact, Acorns lets you begin with just spare change. All about those small steps, small investments today that can build into something much bigger over time. Acorns recommends that the expert build portfolio designed to fit financial goals. Then it does the heavy lifting for you by automatically investing your money. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket working around the clock to help your money grow. So why wait? Head over to acorns.com/safetyfm or download the Acorns app and take that first step towards securing your future today. Remember, in the world of safety and investing, small actions today can lead to mighty outcomes tomorrow. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides an incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisors. View important disclosures at acorn.com/safetyfm. At Safety FM, we're all about making smart decisions on the job and in life. So take control of your financial future. This is Jay Allen reminding you to stay safe, stay smart, and invest in your tomorrow.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
I know you all want to hit your revenue targets and get the launch done. Well, making sure that your team knows what to do and how to do it is a huge part of it. So I'm sure that you all do different kinds of training, and I'm willing to bet that you probably use PowerPoint, Zoom, etc. I also bet that when you get someone droning on about a topic using these tools, you probably zone out. And your team does too. I mean, it is a reality of what happens. That's why I strongly recommend a tool called Articulate 360. That makes it so easy to whip together interactive, really beautiful e-learnings that really engages people and gets info across. You can create short-form micro-learning, super interactive courses, and really whatever you need when you're in their site. Then with a couple of clicks, you can send it out and check on it and see the progress of your team. Your team can also check back on the training anytime they want in a super simple portal. Literally everyone uses Articulate. Over 120,000 companies and all 100 Fortune 100 companies. Check it out at articulate.com/360 to start a free trial. That's articulate.com/360 to start your free trial. And don't forget to tell them that I was the one that sent you there.
Listen to our host
Of the Rated R Safety Show.
self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Let me talk to you real quick. What is HelloFresh? With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Spend your time this month shopping for gifts and sipping cocoa, not stuck at the checkout line. Sign up for HelloFresh and get everything you need to whip up a fresh, tasty meal delivered to your door. Just choose your recipes, select a delivery date, and relax knowing that dinner's on its way. HelloFresh has over 45 recipes and more than 100 seasonal add-on items to choose from every week, so it's easier than ever to find something everyone will enjoy. Go to HelloFresh.com/safetyfm free. That's HelloFresh.com/safetyfm free to use the code safetyfm free for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/safetyfm free with code safetyfm free. And don't forget that this is why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit.
Some of the best things in life come to those who wait, but we ain't waiting for shit. Radio Big.
I'm already there. It may take some time, but we'll leave this behind.
here we are, 44 minutes past the top of the hour. Still hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show, doing all the fun stuff that we get to do. No doubt about that. That is for sure. So, this right here, this is Already There by Lull, Lull. Songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Music. So there you go. Some things to talk about as we are hanging out. So there you go. Some fun times as we are doing our thingo. Oh, I love hanging out with you. Talking about some music stuff, no doubt there. So there you go. Anyways, thanks for hanging out with me on this lovely Tuesday. And let's go ahead and get into some other things that we need to talk about, because there's a lot of important stuff that we need to discuss as we are hanging. And if anything, let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected with help. And the people at To Write Love on Her Arms want you to know that people have been where you are now and that healing is possible. Things can get better. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, you'll see information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, just to name a few. All you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com to write love on her arms. TWLOHA.com to find out more information and click on the section that says Find Help. So there you go. Anyway, so as we are talking, hanging out, and doing all of our things, let's talk about some other things that are going on. Giving your 5 cents worth, take a listen to this. So the richest man on the planet wants to kill the penny. Elon Musk, who has been put in charge of the U.S. President Trump's new Department of Government Efficiency, has revealed that he wants to eliminate the 1 cent coin, which costs 3.7 cents to produce. The idea is that by simply rounding a purchase totally up or down to the nearest nickel, it would solve the pricing issues. This saved the government about $179 million a year. By the way, the nickel might be next. The cost, the nickel, let's see, they cost more than 13 cents to produce, so the penny cost is more than it's worth, and so I guess that the gym membership will never use. First, he and Trump want to take Canada, and now they're taking their start by taking their ideas. Because if you go to Canada, I don't think that they have the scent stuff. I remember going to a restaurant while I was there. I was actually visiting Niagara Falls, and it was like, we don't do the change thing. And I was like, oh, well, good, because I normally don't do the cash thing. I normally do the card thing. So I guess it all kind of works out in one way, shape, or form as we are talking. So there you go. Some stuff to talk about. Take a listen to this real quick in movie moves. Let's hope that the deep thinkers at Netflix are listening. A Reddit user recently posted an awesome suggestion of a streaming service. Netflix could include ratings from Rotten Tomatoes to save us all the web search. As many of you know, the platform used to give viewers the opportunity to rate shows and films, but that was replaced with a current thumbs up, thumbs down that enables Netflix to provide viewing suggestions based on their opinion. Most commenters agreed with one, which was that a 5-star system would be perfect. Another wrote that they assumed that Netflix ditched the rating system because their in-house shows were being panned, and Netflix adds the Rotten Tomato scores, it would be forced to face the truth of 90% of what I binge is objectively terrible, and I'm not ready for that kind of self-reflection. So there you go. I don't know. I mean, listen, there's some shows that I like that I know that other people don't give a shit about. That's perfectly fine. And I'm sure there's shows that you watch that are not great compared to what other people watch. And who gets to determine what's a great show? Listen, there's some crappy stuff that I like to watch, and I'm okay with it. It's my own issue. Okay. I guess we need to bring some John Smalls into our life because I'm getting a kind of excited about something that doesn't really matter. Okay, John Smalls can get us a little bit motivated about some things, so let's do that right now here on the Rated R Safety Show.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com.
The Motivation Minute.
Today's quote was submitted by Frederick. Albert Schweitzer said, "I don't know what your destiny will be, but one thing I know, the only ones among you who will be truly happy are those who have sought and found how to serve." I love this. If you're not doing something to serve in some way, I encourage you to find a way to get plugged in somehow. I've been involved in nonprofit fundraisers and community events for most of my life. I've always gravitated to this kind of thing. I'm not even really sure why, but I've just always enjoyed helping. Some people complain that there's nothing to do in their area. Others step up and do something about it. Be that type of person. It's awesome.
The Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. You may be wondering how you can distinguish between true and false guilt. True guilt comes from the Holy Spirit. It makes us painfully aware of our sinful failures, but even as it does, it motivates us to confess our sins and try again. False guilt, on the other hand, tempts us to despair. It tells us that we'll never be any different, that God is sick of our repeated failures and ready to wash his hands of us. It tempts us to give up, drives us into hiding, away from God. Allow the conviction of the Holy Spirit to move you to repentance, but resist the accusation of the enemy with all your might. Holy Spirit, sanctify us and deliver us from evil. In your holy name we pray. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
The Democratic Republic of Congo has officially severed diplomatic ties with Rwanda as rebel groups, allegedly backed by Rwanda, advance toward the strategic city of Goma.
The escalating conflict has displaced thousands of civilians, with the United Nations relocating non-essential staff from the region due to safety concerns. UN peacekeepers have also reported injuries during clashes with the M23 armed group, which continues to gain ground. Benjamin Wright reporting.
In Colombia, tensions with the United States have escalated after President Gustavo Petro denied entry to U.S. military planes carrying deported migrants. In response, the Trump administration imposed a 25% tariff on Colombian imports, citing the need to enforce immigration policies. Paul Gomez reports.
The move has sparked criticism from human rights groups, who argue that the deportations and tariffs disproportionately affect vulnerable populations. Meanwhile, Colombia has offered a $700,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of rebel leaders responsible for violence in the country.
South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has been indicted on charges of insurrection following his attempt to impose martial law, marking an unprecedented political crisis in the country.
The indictment could result in decades of imprisonment if he is convicted, raising concerns about the stability of South Korea's democratic institutions. Protests have erupted across the nation, with citizens using funeral wreaths and K-pop light sticks as symbols of dissent. The situation has drawn international attention. Joseph Ickerson reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
The Trump administration has launched a series of immigration enforcement raids in Chicago, targeting churches and schools as part of a broader crackdown on undocumented migrants. Liam White reports.
The administration has also begun using military aircraft to deport migrants, with several flights departing from Texas and Arizona to Guatemala. Critics argue that the policy could disrupt communities and strain international relations, while supporters claim it is necessary to address illegal immigration.
An Alabama woman, Tawana Looney, has become the longest living recipient of a pig organ transplant, marking a significant milestone in medical science. Looney, who received a pig kidney 61 days ago, is reported to be healthy and full of energy, offering hope for future xenotransplantation procedures.
The breakthrough comes as researchers continue to explore the potential of animal organs to address the global shortage of human donors. This development has been hailed as a major step forward in the field of regenerative medicine. Jessica Oakley reporting.
In California, rains assisted with wildfires, with firefighting aircraft dropping hundreds of thousands of gallons of fire suppressant in a desperate effort to contain the flames. The blazes have forced evacuations and caused widespread destruction, prompting concerns about the state's ability to manage the crisis. Kevin Sanders reports.
Last week, President Trump visited the affected areas amid worries that federal disaster aid might be withheld due to political tensions. Many say the situation underscores the growing impact of climate change on extreme weather events, with experts calling for long-term solutions to mitigate future risks.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
We're rocking all day at work because we don't give a duck. Autocorrect probably just saved my ass there.
Like I give a flying, you know.
Okay, here we are, currently 55 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out. So let's start talking about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 1986, Space Shuttle Challenger explodes during a takeoff. Only 73 seconds after the launch, the shuttle blew apart during the ascent into the space while millions watched live on television. The mission had been repeatedly scrubbed over the course of 6 days due to bad weather, and it was determined that the leak in one of the fuel tanks caused a larger explosion that destroyed the entire vessel. NASA would not pursue another space mission for more than 2 more years. Tragically and ironically, the explosion happened one day after the 19th anniversary of the Apollo 1 launch pad fire. So that happened back on this date in 1986. Let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. That girl Lele turns 18. Whitney Peak turns 22. Ariel Winter 27. Peyton Pritchard turns 27 as well. Maluma, 31. Will Poulter, 32. Tom Hopper, 40. J. Cole turns 40 as well. Elijah Woods, 44. Nick Carter, 45. Seamus turns 47. Joey Fatone turns 48. Rick Ross turns 49. Amy Corney Barrett turns 53. Alan Alda turns 89. So there are some birthdays for you for today if you are officially looking for them. So there you go. Some stuff to talk about. No doubt about that. If you need a random joke for today, I, of course, have one of those for you. So let's go ahead and talk about that, because why would we not do that? Women used to, that's the right one. Women used to call me ugly until they saw my bank balance. Now they call me poor and ugly. So there you go. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What would be the most annoying thing about having you as a roommate? Oh, too many things to discuss here. I'm not sure if I'm wanting to talk about this. That's for sure. Okay, if you need a question for the water cooler, try this. Only 1 in 6 people do this in the morning. What is it? Get up as soon as the alarm goes off. Yeah, that will do the trick normally for people. So there you go. So that's it. That's going to sum up our time together. Thanks for hanging out with me on this lovely Tuesday edition of the Rated R Safety Show. At the top of the hour, I will be going over to radiobig.fm, hanging out for the next couple of hours or so, doing our thing over there, talking about music and entertainment and doing all that fun stuff over there. And I'll hand curate some music for you as we go through the whole thing. If you don't want to go over to radiobig.fm, that's fine. You can hang out here on safetyfm.com or on Safety FM, the app, however you want to do it, and listen to the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting, because guess what? That's what he does. So that will get us all moving and grooving. So with that being said, that's going to sum up our time together. Thanks for hanging out with me. I really do appreciate it. Always a good time when you and I get to hang out together. If I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. The amateur works until he can get it right. The professional works until they can't get it wrong. One more time. The amateur works until he can get it right. The professional works until he can't get it wrong. Think about that. It'll take you places. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.